Hello. So this is another video for the sort of educational series. Um, this one is one that there's a lot of information out there on, um, but it's very specific about one product or another, and I'm trying to generalize this a little more for like a overview of knowing what kind of tobaccos you want to try, and there's reasons why for some. I can't tell you what to do. I never will. But, well, that's not true. At some point, I will tell you what to do. Doesn't mean you have to listen. Um, we'll go over the types, and then we're going to go over the cuts. Now, there's as many different options for blend types as there are stars in the sky, right? Because a small enough change in the right proportions, now all of a sudden it could almost be its own category. But if you simplify things, it boils down to three basic categories. But even in those three basic categories, I myself, my favorite blends don't fall directly in any of those, not in any obvious way. Um, so you have your basic categories are just going to be aromatics, Englishes, and Virginias. But some of my favorite components don't typically fit in there. Cigar leaf, dark fired Kentucky, and burley. They don't fit in there. Perique goes in almost everything. I like Perique. Virginia definitely has a place, but it does agitate a lot of people on the tongue bite side, just reactionary, and some people just don't enjoy the flavor of it. So me saying like there's three basic categories, I'm trying to point out that that doesn't mean that that's what you have to choose from. You will need to do some figuring out as to what you like. There's a number of articles out there to that effect about like fine tuning your palate and understanding things. I would tell you that if you are, and I tell a lot of people, if you are unsure about what you want to try, I want you to think about a food, not a dessert. There are desserty tobaccos, but I want you to think about a food, a regular food that you would settle to have right now. That would be you'd be happy to have served up in front of you. Now, what flavor range does that food fall in? There is very likely a tobacco that hits some of those same notes. Will it taste like grilled cheese? No. God, I hope not. That would be horrific. But are you going to be able to get bready notes? Yes. Are you going to be able to get some creamy notes? Yeah. Are you going to be able to get savory or spicy or even sour notes? Yes. Yes, you will. And that's all without having to add extra chemicals and flavors that you need to get for like the aromatics. There are some aromatics where none of that is used, and it's just a heavy preparation of certain alcohols, which does lead to a really great experience. But my generic advice for trying to pick a blend or blend category is to understand what flavor spectrum you are agreeable with to start with. Like that really helps. Um, I don't advise trying 100 blends in 100 days. I did it. Please don't do it. You'll find yourself fast forwarding through experiences that should have been savored. But we'll go on to cuts. So next, we have the most common cut is going to be a ribbon cut. That's obvious. The leaf is cut into ribbon-like strips and then is blended like that. It's prepped like that. It's very easy to load. It's very easy to scoop. It's very easy to pack. It's also very easy to make a mess with. Heads up. It's the easiest to start with for a beginner. It's quick. It's easy. and it's very, very popular among blending houses. A lot of the blends you'll come across are ribbon cut. Um, there's another similar cut, which is shag. It's much finer. That's what you'll find in a lot of roll your own stuff and whatnot. But there are some pipe tobacco blends like Five Brothers, things of that nature that are shag cut. Now those need to be packed ultra firm. Um, they go very, very fast. There's a lot of avenue for air. It will get plenty hot because it's shag. It's also very dried out. It will smoke very fast, and with Five Brothers, you're guaranteed to get a lot of nicotine because of the rate at which it's burning. So from there we have plugs. Now plugs are solid. They're just pressed, dense chunks of layered leaves. Plugs will age the best. They're best for long-term aging. They also need a bit of prep time. So you need to be able to cut them off and break it into some form in which you feel comfortable loading it and smoking it, whether you cut it into thin flakes or you cut it into chunks and cube it, however you're going to do that. It does provide you with the most flexibility in what you're and how you're going to prep it, how you're going to enjoy that blend. Um, the secondary to plugs is also cakes. Cakes are much less densely packed. You can break them apart with your fingertips, and they are usually either a ribbon cut shred or like a shredded version of whole leaf, typically not whole leaf cakes. They'd be much larger cuts than ribbon sometimes, but you'll find it's sort of a confetti of leaf in there. So it is somewhat blended, but it's easy to prepare. It's easy to pack around because it's already packed into a bit of a cube, but it's easy to just take off some and throw it in and be done. Um, Now, flakes is another method that's typically how you're going to find product. Flakes are they're already they were a plug or a cake, and now they have been cut into a slightly less dense, easily manipulated flake. That's going to lend itself to just an easier time, quicker loading, but at the same time, then you have to decide how you're going to load that. Then there's methods like the fold and stuff, and different variations therein. Uh, One of the methods that I do typically when like say I'm driving, I will just take a flake and I will crunch it up in my hand a few times. It doesn't fully rub it out. It's still a bit of a flake, so I still get the longer, cooler, smoother burn out of it that you do with the flake, but it loads a little closer to like ribbon style where I can leave it in the palm of my hand and then just, just get the pipe underneath and get that all scraped in there, and it's pretty quick and easy. Now that is while I'm in traffic or parked, not while going 70 miles an hour. Um, and then the last version to talk about is Ready Rubbed. Now Ready Rubbed, it already goes through 3 steps of preparation, so it was a plug, then it was cut into a flake, and then it was rubbed out mechanically. Now this is super easy to load. You get some of the characteristics of smoking it in a flake or as a plug, and you're just going to have a lot more time out of it. Um, a lot of the more premium blends that are available out there are either come in a flake, plug, or ready rub format. Very few come in a shag cut. The most popular is ribbon, but that's just because of ease on all sides. But you will find that it dries out pretty fast. There are some downsides to ribbon. Um, don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated by the plugs and whatnot. You don't have to get this perfect. you need to do it in a way where you can just try to enjoy it, and then you can worry about the minutia later on. It's not important that you did the fold-in stuff just right. It's not. Just get the leaf in the bowl and get it lit. Get it packed the way you like it. Get it lit, and see if you enjoy what you put in there. That's what's the most important. That'll cover most of this. Um, Let me double check my notes. Yeah, no, that'll take care of it. Um, I think I might have one more video in mind for this series, but if you have any other suggestions, drop them in the comments. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I will do what I can. Have a good one.